This is Metal Mike, and in this episode we talk to the original Tigertailz drummer, Ace Finchum. We hear about what's going on with his band, Tigertailz U.S.A. We also revisit the classic albums he played on, Young and Crazy and Bezerk. Now, some of his relationships with his past bandmates are a bit rocky, and we talk about that too. And we talk about how Love Bomb Baby was just played on the first episode of the Peacemaker TV show. Hey, me and my buds just did a cover of Rats Round and Round, so make sure you go on YouTube and give it a like. Now here's Ace, check it out. Well, Ace, welcome to the 80's Glam Metalcast, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Awesome, man. It's great to be talking with you. Get everybody up to speed with what you're up to. You right now you're doing Tigertailz U.S.A. Tell everybody what that's all about.
Yeah, basically just doing Tigertailz U.S.A., doing all the Tigertailz songs, just trying to keep it alive over here in the States because we never really got to play in America. We always played all of Europe, but we never got to the States. I talked to Jay and I talked to Kim, and they were cool about me doing Tigertailz U.S.A. So that's what I decided to do. Yeah, keep the music going over here.
Awesome. Now, what do you focus on mostly? Do you focus on like the first few albums, or what kind of material do you guys put in the set?
The first two albums only. The ones that matter, Young and Crazy and Bezerk.
They are classics, man. They're two of my favorites.
Those are the two albums. I mean, there's. I thought Wazbones was a good album, and I played on two of the demos of that album, and there's some good songs on that. But to me, that was the last great Tigertailz album.
So the guys were cool with you doing it. You didn't get any kind of pushback using the Tigertailz name.
No, nothing. No. I asked Jay. He was cool. Jay was just like, don't use the tiger. You can do it, but don't use the tiger image. So, okay. And it was like, okay, that's fine. No problem.
And do you run into, I'm sure you do. You probably run into a lot of Tigertailz fans from the USA. Probably want their, Bezerk autographed and all that kind of stuff. Does that happen?
It's happened, yeah. One gig. The last gig I did, it was like that. A lot of people had a lot of CD covers they wanted signed, and that was pretty cool. Some guy had a tattoo as well. He had the tiger tattoo on his arm. I didn't sign it, though. I didn't want to. I didn't want to make it a mess. It looked good as it was, so I left it at that.
Since you guys play, those first two albums, let's revisit those albums, because, like I said, those are the ones that people really want to talk about the most.
Yeah.
Young and Crazy, man, to this day, I still love that debut. How do you feel about it when you go back and listen to it? What comes to mind when you listen to it?
You know what? I don't know. It's like I thought it was okay. When it came out, I thought it was okay at the time. But when we did Bezerk, I thought, well, God, Young and Crazy is just nowhere near as good as Bezerk. But so many people prefer Young and Crazy. You do polls. I've done polls before on my website. On my Facebook. And Young and Crazy always comes up high. Everybody loves that album more than Bezerk.
Yeah.
So I think each album has its moments, I think it was very raw, and the money we had at the time, we didn't have a lot of money, so it just came out raw and quite snotty and punky, sort of thing,
It's definitely got a great heavy beat, man. You're keeping a real solid heavy beat, keeping the songs going, and you're right. It's raw, and I think that's probably why it still works today. For something about it, it doesn't sound as dated because of that rawness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. There's some good songs on that album, definitely some really good songs on that album.
Let's talk about Stevie James a little bit. Well, I had him on.
Okay.
And I love Stevie. I think his voice, especially I love his voice. His voice is so cool. I love that he kind of sings a little bit lower than like your average metal singer, but then he's got the ability to screech and go high when he wants to. So I really love the way that he uses his voice.
Yeah.
But you probably know, I've had both these guys. I've had him and I've had Jay on the podcast. and it's almost like there's conflicting stories of what happened. I mean, Stevie says that somebody at the label. I'm just trying to remember from memory, when I had him on, but I want to say he thought somebody at the label had it in for him, and I think Jay was like, well, Stevie was wild, and he's beating on journalists and all this stuff. So, what's your take on this, man? You were there. What do you think, hearing both sides of this?
Yep. The bottom line is, Stevie did. He did have his fights with the press and stuff like that, and but it was Jay and Pepsi just wanted to get rid of him. And Stevie's my best friend. I've known Stevie since 1980. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to get rid of him, and I was like, "What?" I didn't want to go along with it. We had a meeting at the where our manager was. We had a meeting there, and I knew nothing about what was going to go on. We got there. This is exactly what happened, and I'm going to tell you this, and this is what happened exactly. I showed up at the records, where our manager was. They sat me down, and they said, and he said to Jay, "Have you told Ace yet?" And Jay said no. And he said, "We're just going to go down." So we went to a coffee bar. And they gave me one of those old Walkmans with a new recording of "Living Without You" on it, mm-hmm. with Kim playing on it.
Oh, okay.
And I listened to it, and I was like, I thought it was great. I did. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to go with Kim, and I thought it was great. I really did. It was good. I had a buzz listening to it, but it was just Stevie was my mate. I've known Stevie for so long. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine being in a band without him, so I kind of was like, well, God, I don't know. But that's how it is. Jay decides on something, and that's how it goes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so they got rid of Stevie that day. I actually refused to go down there. I went back home and let them do it, because I didn't want to get rid of him.
Like when you finally were able to talk to Stevie about the whole situation, I mean, what was...
Yeah. He was, he wanted to get me and do another band, He wanted to, we were going to try and do a different band, and everything. But by that time, I was on a paycheck, I was getting paid to do what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And it's really weird, because we went to re-release Living Without You, and we went to record it. I actually told the guys that I was leaving after the recording. I was going to do that, Living Without You release with Kim singing, and the two B-sides, or the two sides, sorry. And I said that was it for me, because I'm going to get back with Stevie. But the bottom line is, I was getting paid to do this. I didn't have to work anymore.
Right.
So I didn't have to have a job. So I told Stevie and his dad that they're paying me to do this, so I can't really leave it right now. Yep. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes, as we all know, it's like the music business. You know what I mean? It's not. I think. Yeah. I want to say. I heard Eric Singer say this in the Kiss documentary. It's not called music friends. It's called music business. So that's how it works.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
it does. Yeah.
With Kim,
it's really hard, because Stevie was like my best friend, and I've known Stevie, like I said, since 1980. And it hurt to let him go. It really did, but I was on a wage. I was getting paid to do so much, I didn't want to work a normal job, and they were paying me not to do a normal job. So that's why I stuck with it,
Yep.
And Stevie went on to do good things anyway, so...
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you already kind of talked about Kim Hooker. So you hear this recording with him on there, and you're like, this is sounding pretty damn good. So what was it like when he got into the band? What did you like being in a band with him? Well, how did that all play out?
Well, Kim, I mean, when I spoke to Kim, he said he had come out and saw us, and I actually had met him at one of the shows we did. And he said that he watched me the whole show, and he said it was like watching the blonde Tommy Lee. That's just his words. And he was really psyched to work with us, I don't know. It was just, like I said, it's one of them things where, like I said, you're trying to stay faithful and true to your friend, but you're trying to stay faithful and true to the business, and you got to pick one of them, and it's such a hard thing to do. Mm-hmm. you know, and I ended up picking the business side of it because I needed money, you know, and I didn't want to work a normal job.
So you get to Bezerk, and I mean, like I said, I know what you're saying with some of the polls, but there's so many people that love Bezerk, man. There's a lot of people that could go either way, right? Some people like Bezerk better than Young and Crazy, but it is a killer album, and I think sonically, at least you got to say it's a more powerful album than the debut. You know, you can tell the production's there.
The production was better as well. You know, we had better production and everything. You know, more money.
Yeah.
To spend on it. Yeah.
One thing that I love about it,
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I love about it is I feel like when I listen to it, it's almost like I'm at a concert. It's like the drums are so, you know, I don't know if they got a lot of reverb on them or something, but the drums sound real big. Even the guitar almost sounds like, it just sounds like a concert. You know, so many times a couple years back, I had a car that had a cassette player, and I had the original cassette of Bezerk, and I would crank that thing, man. It just sounded like I was at a live concert. I just loved the sound of that album. It sounds so big.
Right. Yeah. And I feel it. I feel what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. A lot of songs, especially like I would say something like Love Overload with all the percussion that's in the middle of it, and that is just, you know, cranking out. Yeah, definitely, you know.
And I love how it goes into different directions. You know what I mean? You get real poppy with, you know, Love Bomb Baby and Twist and Shake, but then you're real heavy with Six Sex and Love Overload and songs like that. So it's cool. And you know what? Here's another thing. And I feel like, and let me know if this was something you guys were thinking of, but I mean, the production, and I know it was Chris Sangrides, right? He produced it?
Yes.
Yeah. It almost like he took a glam metal album and he produced it the way he'd produce like a thrash album. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel. Like it sounds heavy, you know?
Yeah, because he had done Thin Lizzy, he had done Tigers of Pantang. So, yeah, Chris was on it. Chris is great. He really was. Bless his heart, and he's gone. Yeah, he's gone now. But he exactly what you just said. You know, he brought a lot of power into to the whole style of you know, the sound of the record. When I did the drums, my drum kit was in a huge oak hall, all wood around it, and I was on a high drum riser. And there was nothing else in this room, just great big empty room with a drum kit on a drum riser and a big oak room with tall ceiling, and that's how we did the drums. And it was just like, it was fucking amazing. Like, wow, I can't believe how loud and everything is, but it was just so amazing.
And at that point, the band's getting pretty big, especially in the UK. I mean, that was a pretty big album for you guys. I mean, that had to be a good time with the touring and everything.
It was, yeah, definitely. I mean, we got in the charts with it. We got in the top 30 for about, I don't know, 2 minutes. But, no, it was a big album for us. Yeah, it definitely was. And I think, you know, this is the weird thing, really, because I think Young and Crazy outsold Bezerk over here in the States. Mm-hmm. Because it was released through Combat Records. Young Crazy was over here with Metallica and Poison and all them that were on Combat Records. Bezerk, we didn't get that American release. It was just, you know, and Bezerk was just an import. Whereas Young Crazy was actually released through, you know, through what I was just saying, that other record label. So a lot of people, you know, it's weird. I have some weird things because I remember reading Tom Kiefer in Metal Hammer saying, you know, they're asking him what bands he thought were good in Britain, and he's like, well, I really like Tigertailz Living Without You. And I just thought, wow, that's so cool. Yeah. And Brittany Fox loved it as well. And it was like, that's when you think, you know, you're on the right track, you know, when you hear all these other bands saying it's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is
but you know, cool. But you know what? Have you ever heard Stevie's album, My Private Hell?
I have. Yeah, I like that album. It's very cool.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's just awesome. And I got to play those tracks with Stevie, and it was good. But that album, if it would have come out back then with, you know, in 87 or 88, oh my God, it would have stormed the charts. It's great.
I was glad to. I was glad to get that album because you know, I think as a fan in America, I lost track of them. You know what I mean? Like I said, I never really heard much of them after Young and Crazy. I know he did some of those, like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and all that kind of stuff, but that stuff was not. I never heard any of that stuff in the States. So when that came, when I found that, I was like, oh, it's great to hear him again, and he really sounded the same. So that's what was really cool vocally, you know. And the music was updated a little bit, and that made it cool too. It wasn't like it was a complete retro thing. It had a little bit of a modern twist. So no, I'm very impressed with that album, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely great album. And that's what I tell Stevie as well whenever I talk to him. Like, you ain't got to worry about whatever Tigertailz did. You did an album that's just unbelievable, you know. Mm-hmm. It is. It's a great album. Great album. Great songs, great album, great production. I'm proud of the guy. Yeah, he did good.
Yeah. Now, one other thing before we get off the topic of Bezerk that's very exciting. Now, I've yet to see this, but I've heard the stories that Love Bomb Baby plays at the end of the new Peacemaker TV show?
I know.
That's awesome.
I actually watched it just so I could see if it was on there. It was on the first episode only.
That is cool.
I'm trying to hook up with my bank right now and find out, you know, because I've been over here for 6 years now, over here in America. So I have forgot all my bank details and everything from Britain, because I thought, you know, there'd be no more royalties. Everything was over, you know. Mm-hmm. And, of course, this came out now, and it's like, oh, my God, I got to find my royalties from this. So I'm trying to get a hold of the bank in Britain and get my info back on. And so far, I'm not doing too good.
You know, and it's funny, because this doesn't surprise me, because I know that James Gunn, he posted one of his hair metal list or something like that, his playlist, and I think Tigertailz was on that, and a lot of other hair bands, you know, from the 80s. So, you know, and when you watch movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, the dude has good taste in music, and he puts it in his projects, and it does well. It fits, you know.
Was that in his Spotify?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And the other cool thing that I noticed, and somebody posted this clip on Twitter, is there's a scene where John Cena is going through his record collection, and he's got Pretty Boy Floyd, he's got Cinderella, Faster Pussycat, London Choir Boys. I was like, this is freaking cool, man. How cool.
Yeah. I watched that first episode, and he's carrying all them records around, and I always saw Pretty Boy Floyd in there.
That is awesome, man. So let's talk about you exiting the band. What happened with you leaving Tigertailz? How'd that all play out?
Basically, I got a call from Jay in 1991. I think it was 1990. No, it was 1991. And they wanted to get rid of me. And to this day, to be honest with you, I have no idea why they fired me. Mm-hmm. I've asked Kim about it countless times, and Kim said he don't know. He said just, you know, Jay and Pepsi wanted to get rid of me and get somebody else in. And, you know, and I think it was, you know, we were getting ready to break in America at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think when you lose a band member, people lose interest.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, but anyway, yeah, so I was out. They kicked me out of the band, and I don't know why to this day. I've asked Kim. He says he doesn't know. It was Jay's idea, and yeah, that's all I know.
What did you do after you were out? Did you join another band, or what happened around that period?
Yeah, I did several bands. I joined Angel Witch. I don't know if you remember Angel Witch.
Well, sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, they're like a new wave of British heavy metal band. Mm-hmm. I joined them. I did another band with a girl singer, and we did some demos and stuff. But no, I really didn't do anything else. I didn't move on to anything else until I got back with Stevie, and then went out and did, you know, some of his songs for My Private Hell.
And then you did go back you went back to Tigertailz at some point in the 2000s, right? In the 2010s or something like that. Did you go back?
2011, I did. I went back, yep. And we did a gig in Britain at not Steelhouse Festival. What was it? Yeah, it was Steelhouse Festival. And then we went to Europe and we had a different singer. We had Jules Millis, who's from White Widow. Mm-hmm. And we went out and played all of Europe, and then came back and played England. And I knew the game was up for, the people that were showing up. people weren't showing up. That was the whole thing, and I knew right then and there the game was up. You know, I knew I was going to go. People weren't showing up, and you know, it was just, I don't know, it was kind of just embarrassing, you know. So I decided to leave the band after the last gig in Britain. I had enough. Me and Jay we do not click at all. So I had to go. I had to go after that, you know, after doing that. I felt pressure from Jay Pepper on me, and I felt pressure on how we were supposed to be, you know. And it was more adamant in Europe, you know. There was just not many people showing up. Loads of fat, bald guys, and that's it, you know. And no more girls.
That's disappointing, right?
Big time, yeah. I mean, and you're in Sweden and Holland, and you're seeing that, and it's like, what the hell have we done wrong? So I just, at the end, I had decided to leave. I decided it wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting along with Jay, which somehow always seems to be a problem with me and him, and I don't know why. We butt heads. I've never got anything against Jay, and I never know why he fired me and why he was so snotty to me when we went on this tour of Europe, you know, in 2011. He just wasn't cool to me. I don't know why, but, you know, I decided to get out.
So how's the relationship with these guys today? So it sounds like some of them you're speaking to, some of them you're not. I'm
really good. Yeah, I'm really good friends with Kim. I speak to Kim quite often, actually. We text and email each other back and forth. Jay, I don't talk to at all. I did try and reach out to Jay because he got tinnitus, which I have. I have had tinnitus since 1990. In the States, you guys call it tinnitus, I think.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so I've had it since 1990, tinnitus, and it's horrible. And Jay got it, so I reached out to him, and I was like, you know, I understand how you feel, and it's a horrible thing to go through, and I'm sorry you're going through it, but I never heard nothing back from him. But, you know, it's horrible, tinnitus. It's something, you know, unless you go through it, you have no idea. Just having constant ringing, piercing ringing in your ear all day and all night.
Oof.
Since I went through, you know, when I found out he went through it, you know, I tried to reach out to him. But, I never heard nothing back from him, and that's about it, really.
And you're still pretty tight with Stevie, right, James?
This is another weird thing. Stevie and I don't talk anymore. I put out a book. I wrote a book and put out a book, and Stevie didn't like some of the things I put in the book. So he don't talk to me. The only time Stevie has talked to me is when my mother died in December, on December 4th. He sent me a message saying, you know, your mom's up there rocking with the chief. And the chief was Steve's dad who died. And he said, keep your pecker up. And that's the only time I heard back from him. And it showed me that he cared, at least, you know, to actually hear back from him. But, no, we don't stay in contact. I try to. I'd love to be in contact with Stevie, but he won't stay in contact with me for, I don't know. I didn't write anything bad about him in my book. It was just, I wrote about what a badass he was and how he didn't take any shit from anyone. And you know, he would fight anyone. You know, guys that are like 6'3", and Stevie's like 5'5", and he didn't take shit from anyone. And that's the only stuff I wrote in my book. You know, so I don't know. I don't know why he won't talk to me, but it sucks. Yeah, it's real bad. I wish he did.
Yeah, that's too bad, man. Like, you know, and like I said, life's too short too. So hopefully you guys. It is,
can, bro. Life is way too short. You know, and especially seeing all our parents going. You know. Yep. And they should realize even more.
Most definitely, man. Well, is there anything else about Tigertailz that you know that we need to know? Have we missed anything?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, you know, I think Tigertailz have made a lot of albums after Bezerk, and Washbones was, I think, the last good Tigertailz album out of all the albums. They released a few more after that, but they just, no. The last good album was Washbones. The other albums that came up out after that just didn't do anything, and there wasn't anything song-worthy on it, I don't think. I don't know. Rob Wilde, the new singer from Tigertailz.
Mm-hmm. I know Rob. Yeah.
You know Rob, right?
Yes. Yep. I talked to him a lot.
Yeah. Rob Wilde's great. I love Rob. I actually got Rob into Tigertailz, and it's so funny because I remember getting him into the band as a rhythm guitar player. This is when we got Jules in, and I remember Jay saying he looks too gay. I don't know if I want him in the band. He looks too gay.
Jeez.
But so Rob's come in as a rhythm guitar player, gone to bass player, to now the lead singer.
Right.
So that's kind of strange how that all worked out, But Rob had talent, and I knew it.
Yep.
He had raw talent, and I brought him into the band because I knew he had talent. I'd seen him around, and I knew what Rob could do. And I think the album they did with Rob is probably their best album since the Wazbones album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are some cool songs on there. Yep, no doubt.
On Blast.
And I like what Rob does in Midnight City. You know what I mean? Like I said, he wears his influences on his sleeves. He's true to what he likes, and some great catchy shit, man. Very catchy songs, and I love catchy songs.
Well, Midnight City are just blowing up. I mean, they've been to Australia, Japan. They've just blown up. I'm so proud of Rob. He's done so well, and and I was even wondering if he was even going to stay with Tigertailz because how good Midnight City were doing, because they're, like I said, they're playing everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, they got to go to Japan. That's an honor right there.
Yep, that's awesome. That is awesome, man.
But no, I love Rob. I love Rob. He calls me Dad. So
well, man,
I'm older than him, and I have a child, so he calls me Dad all the time. So
well, Ace, man, this has been great talking about Tigertailz. Anything you want to say to your fans out there before we wrap up?
I would just say enjoy all the Tails music you can, and we really appreciate what you put into the band and what you coming to watch the band and buying the records and that, we really appreciate it. And I speak on behalf of everybody else, I guess. And we love you all. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. All right, Ace. Take care, buddy.
Take care, buddy.
Bye now.
All right, mate. Bye.
Well, that was great talking about some Tigertailz with Ace. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Rock on!